Hello, it's Mary Jane here from Home for the Harvest. Today's video is about anthurium, which is a lovely flowering houseplant. It's a really nice houseplant because its blooms last for months. Like these ones here, it's actually a modified leaf, not technically flower, but it's a bloom. It's 2 months old. This is 2 months old, so is this one. This one is only 2 weeks old. It's a little fresher. This one is more than 2 months old. I should probably trim it off, but I want to show you guys what they look like when they get a little older. But the foliage is also really, really pretty. You can get anthurium that have like variegated leaves, which is really cool. They have patterns on them. This one just has plain leaves, but this is just kind of your average run-of-the-mill Home Depot anthurium. Okay, so taking care of them. They're not that tricky to take care of, really. You just have to think about where they grow in nature, which is under the canopy of the rainforest. You can think it's moist, like humid. There's bright light, but no direct sunlight. You know, the leaves are kind of providing a bit of shade. So that's what you want to create in your house for this plant. This is also one of those cool plants that can climb up trees. So we'll talk a little bit about the potting soil that you would use for a plant that climbs up trees. Okay, so first thing, bright light, but not direct sunlight. Yeah, it's all about balance with the light. So I have mine right close to some east and north facing windows where it can not get any direct sunbeams like coming at it. The sun where I live actually is on that side of the house. But these windows still do provide some light. So it's bright but not direct sunlight. And the soil has to be wet but not too wet. It can be so irritating to try to figure that out. But basically what I want you to think of is like if you had a sponge like in the sink, you put it under the water and then wring it out, like squeeze it out. The sponge would still be moist, but it wouldn't be like dripping wet. There would still be air in the sponge, but also water. That's what we want our potting soil to be like. And you know what? Anthurium is also not like the kind of plant that you want to like drench with water and then let it totally dry out. You want to keep the moisture levels consistent. Like we don't want drenched and then dried out and then drenched and then dried out. Just try to keep it boring. So it's easier said than done, of course, but one way to make it much easier is to just start with the right soil. So when you buy these, unless you buy them from like a fancy houseplant shop, they're probably just coming in regular potting soil, and that's what this one is in. This is just in a mix of coconut coir with a bit of peat moss and some perlite, which is great for like most plants. But all plants need air, their roots, but this one really especially does. Like an orchid, like it has these aerial roots, like look at this one escaping. So think of it almost like an orchid. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this one in a bigger pot. Not because, well, maybe a slightly bigger pot, but mostly because I want to dilute this potting mix with some orchid mix. Orchid soil is not really soil. What it is it's like a mixture of bits of bark, like fir tree bark, and charcoal and perlite, more perlite. So what I'll do is I'll mix some of that in with this soil, and that will help create like a more air-rich soil experience for this guy. So that will really help with the moisture levels and just make it easier to achieve that consistent moisture while still having air accessible to the roots. This channel is all really about gardening. I'm learning all about plants, and I would love for you to learn along with me. I wrote a really long article all about anthurium on my website, so I'll put the link in the description so that if you're especially interested in these kinds of plants, you can go read all about fertilizer for them and all that kind of good stuff over on my site. But otherwise, I would love it if you clicked subscribe on my channel. So what that does is it just tells YouTube to show you more of my videos and more videos like this. So if you would like more of this in your day, please click subscribe. Thanks so much. Bye.